Hello everyone, it's the morning after I released my blade cleaning video. You can check that out. Let's see which side. Up here, if you haven't seen it yet. But I wanted to talk a little bit about this project, some of the challenges, some of the reasoning behind it. Now this is one I struggled with for quite a few reasons. And I think most of those come down to what my channel's been about and just kind of the true practicality of a project or a product like this that automatically cleans saw blades. Because I think when you get right down to it, if you're looking at it only from the practical time-saving aspects, you know, a very cold hard look at what it's doing for you, it probably doesn't make sense either to buy a product if a product existed or to go through the effort of making one on your own. Unless you're appreciating the gadgetry and the silliness and the fun of it, which I think are valid, this doesn't make sense. And my channel has mostly been hyper practical, building an ambitious piece of furniture or developing a tool that is practical, that I do think is justifiable for the price. You know, very practical, hard economic, or ambitious build kind of channel. And that's limiting sometimes when you have an idea like this that you think is interesting and challenging technically. We'll get to that in a second. But it's just never going to meet that criteria. So I'm kind of stuck. And I'd like to be able to pursue some of those ideas. And in this case, I tried to telegraph some of that with the humorous beginning to the video, and not come out and state it on the nose like I'm doing right now, but try to convey that with the silliness of a grossly exaggerated struggle with cleaning the blade, and then coming up with something ridiculous. You know, the whole thing's just kind of a big joke, but yet there's a technical piece to it also. And most people got that. I got a few comments. I knew I would get a few comments of, well, this doesn't make any sense. Why would you spend the time doing that? You know, it just doesn't take very long to clean a blade. So I knew I'd get those comments. That's fine. But most people, I got fewer of them than I thought I would. Most people got it, enjoyed the silliness, enjoyed the gadgetry of the project. So that was fun. It's had a pretty good reception so far, so that's good. The other struggle with this project, and probably what made it most worthwhile for me, was just the technical challenge of doing this. There's a few things about gears that I sort of knew but became more intimately familiar with. It's very easy if you just start from the center with this hex drive and build gears out that don't connect with each other between the two sides. That's very easy to do. You just need to use the same parameters to generate the gears, and everything will work out just fine. When the two sides start communicating with each other, as they do in three cases, a bottom brush, a top brush, and the center gear that holds the blade, then you have to keep track of a whole lot more stuff. And I won't go through it all, but one thing that I really struggled with, consider this gear is in a left-right symmetric position right here. These two gears are also in symmetric left-right positions, and that's true of the gears underneath these assemblies that hold brush bars. So they're left-right symmetric, these two gears, but that doesn't necessarily mean that one of the teeth is perfectly straight up and down. In fact, it probably isn't, just because these angles, I wasn't selecting those angles in order to make that happen. So the position of the two holes on the body of this gear assembly to hold the brush bars need to be left-right. Well, they need to be pointing straight up and down in one of the positions where this tooth is, I'm not explaining this very well, where this gear is left-right symmetric. There has to exist a position where these two holes are perfectly straight up and down, and if you do that, then the brush bars, the holes are always equally distant, so the spacing on the brush bars is always right if you set it up that way. That was kind of the trick that I eventually used to figure out exactly where those holes should be so that these two sides can communicate with each other and you don't jam up because the distance between the brush bar mounting holes is changing a bunch. Yeah. That took a whole bunch of time. It was really tricky to kind of think that all through. It's relatively simple in my head now, but it wasn't. It was non-trivial, I'll put it that way, figuring that out. And then you have kind of the same issue. As I was just playing around. You have the gear ratio that you're trying to maintain so that the speed of the brush bars versus the blade is right for cleaning and it's not going to jam up. That's something you're thinking about. And then on top of all that, this whole thing needs to fit inside of Rockler's blade cleaning kit. And you can see it's really tight. So you have the gear ratios, the communication between the two sides, the overall size you're trying to fit this in, worrying about jamming. There's a lot going on. You know, the fact that it's silly and is never going to be practical for a purchase doesn't change the fact that if you actually want it to work, there's a whole bunch of stuff that you need to be thinking about. And all that might seem like a whole lot of silly effort to spend. And maybe it is, but it was also a good learning exercise for me. If you're developing products, it takes a long time, and most of your time is not spent on thinking about the cool technical aspects of designing a product. Mostly you're thinking about marketing and logistics and regulatory stuff and fulfillment centers and a bunch of stuff that I don't frankly enjoy. I tolerate because it's necessary to do the things I want to do, but it's not fun like designing this is. So this is a good opportunity just to get some of that and never have to worry about the business end of a thing like this. So anyway, one sticky spot, not so sticky that the impact driver doesn't move it, so it's good enough. I've moved the link to my store where the free STL files for this can be found to this video. And that's a little bit of YouTube algorithm trickery by me if you're interested in this kind of inside baseball sort of stuff. With the link in the previous video, the funny one, the one that's meant to get more views, the problem is a free plan is a pretty popular link, which means that link is sending a lot of people off YouTube, which means that YouTube's algorithm says, oh, this video isn't doing what we want, it's not keeping people on the platform, it's sending people away. So it's ranked less favorably in YouTube's system and fewer people see it. So my thought is, it was there for the first day. I'm moving it to this video and sending people from the first video to this video to find that link and asking that they give this one a full watch, even though it's just me talking, so that the first video that's meant to be more popular doesn't have that stigma of off-platform links that are sending people away. So the game's got to play. YouTube wants long session view times, and us creator monkeys just have to dance on their strings. So I hope you still found this interesting, a little bit of insight on why I did this. But I think that's enough yakking. I will catch you next time.